The president is peddling another insane conspiracy theory about the death toll in Puerto Rico as Republicans brace themselves for the midterms. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. The president has been going on TV basically every day to try to convince people that he's competent as a potentially devastating hurricane bears down on the East Coast. Lately, he's taken to posting videos to Twitter, but it's clear from the quality of these videos that he's just making his staffers point a camera at him while he rambles off the top of his head. Yesterday, for example, he tried to reassure people that his government was ready for Hurricane Florence.
Hurricane Florence is fast approaching. It's going to be here over the next 48 hours. We'll handle it. We're ready. We're able. We've got the finest people, I think, anywhere in the world. Get out of its way. Don't play games with it. It's a big one. We are ready. But despite that, bad things can happen when you're talking about a storm this size. It's called Mother Nature. You never know, but we know.
That video is like a local news report where the meteorologist called in sick and the sports guy had to fill in at the last minute. The hurricane came to play, but the first responders left it all out on the field. In the end, it comes down to turnovers. If you want people to take your message seriously, maybe have higher production quality than a mid-level YouTube star. The storm is big, get out of the way, but before you do, please like and subscribe. And if that didn't do enough to relieve people's worst fears, the White House also released this photo of Trump on the phone, while Chief of Staff John Kelly and Vice President Mike Pence look at some printouts. Oh, well, that's reassuring. They look like they're ordering Chinese food. I'll go ahead and dial. You guys just pick 4 or 5 things that we could share. And as a life-threatening storm bears down on the East Coast, Trump has also been bragging about his handling of the humanitarian disaster in Puerto Rico, which left nearly 3,000 American citizens dead. Now, that is the official death toll from an independent study commissioned by Puerto Rico's government, and yet our deranged president doesn't believe it.
He says 3,000 people did not die in the 2 hurricanes that hit Puerto Rico. When I left the island after the storm had hit, they had anywhere from 6 to 18 deaths. As time went by, it did not go up by much. Then a long time later, they started to report really large numbers like 3,000. He then says in a second tweet, this was done by Democrats in order to make me look as bad as possible when I was successfully raising billions of dollars to help Puerto Rico. If a person died for any reason, like old age, just add them onto the list. Bad politics. I love Puerto Rico.
That's the official death toll, you lunatic. Now we know why he's so orange. His brain is just melted pumpkin guts. We don't need a book. We don't need a book. We don't need an anonymous op-ed to tell us that the president is an adult narcissist who peddles one conspiracy theory after another. He said the first black president wasn't born here, said 3 million people voted illegally, said Muslims celebrated on 9/11, and thinks you get superpowers from staring directly into the sun. May the power of the sky lamp fill my muscles. Now, Trump's incompetence and erratic behavior are posing major political problems for Republicans as the fall campaign season gets underway. A slew of new polls have given Democrats a major edge in the midterm elections. GOP's Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell even admitted this week that some of those races will be tough for Republicans, using a colorful metaphor.
We know this is going to be a very challenging election. On the Senate side, I'll just list you a bunch of races that are dead even. Arizona, Nevada, Tennessee, Montana, North Dakota, Missouri, Indiana, West Virginia, and Florida. All of them too close to call, and every one of them like a knife fight in an alley. I mean, just a brawl.
I seriously doubt Mitch McConnell has ever been in a fight or in an alley. He should use a metaphor he can relate to. These elections are like when you order a steak medium rare and you get it medium. And your wife says you should send it back, but you just eat it, and then your wife thinks you're a coward. But she doesn't say that. She's just real quiet the rest of the night. It's like that. Now, one of those knife fights is happening in Texas, where Democrat Beto O'Rourke is running neck and no neck with Republican Senator Ted Cruz. In public, Republicans are bullish on Cruz's re-election chances, but this week we found out that they are much more pessimistic in private after the New York Times obtained private comments from a top Trump aide suggesting that Cruz might lose because no one likes him.
At a private gathering over the weekend, White House Budget Director Mick Mulvaney warned Republican donors and party officials that the party was battling serious vulnerabilities in the upcoming midterms. According to the New York Times, Mulvaney raised the prospect that Senator Ted Cruz of Texas could actually lose his bid for re-election because he's not seen as likable enough.
He said this in private. There is a very real possibility that we will win a race for Senate in Florida and lose a race in Texas for Senate. I don't think it's likely, but it's a possibility. How likable is the candidate? That still counts.
So Ted Cruz debased himself by cozying up to Donald Trump, a guy who insulted his wife and said his dad killed JFK. And in return, they call him unlikable behind his back. That is rough. You know, I feel like I should say something nice about Ted Cruz just to balance it out. So let me try. He's not here? Now, Democrats face an uphill battle to retake the Senate, but if they're close in Texas, they have a chance, which is why the GOP is trying a new tactic to motivate their base, dangling the threat of impeachment. Last week, for example, Trump told his supporters that if he's impeached by a Democratic Congress, it will be their fault.
They like to use the impeach word. Impeach Trump. Maxine Waters, we will impeach him. But he didn't do anything wrong. It doesn't matter. We will impeach him. It's so ridiculous. But don't worry about that if it ever happens. But if it does happen, it's your fault because you didn't go out to vote.
I'm sorry, real quick. Can we just go back to that first part?
They like to use the impeach word.
Yeah, that's the word. Impeach is the impeach word. Did you mean to say the I word? Because that would make sense. Trump has zero subtlety. He's like a guy spelling out dirty words around his kids. She had nice B-O-O-B-S. You know, boobs. And Republicans are also marshaling every member of the Trump family they can get, like Donald Trump Jr., who's been campaigning for Republicans across the country and did a rare sit-down interview with ABC this week about the midterms.
Trump Jr. says the November midterms will inevitably be a referendum on his father, one where historical odds suggest Democrats could win back the House. And he worries that could spell political catastrophe for his father.
So our people, the MAGA people, they have to turn up. They have to get out and vote. And I think we can break history.
Oh, I think you broke it already. The rest of us are trying to piece it back together like a vase after a house party. What happened to your vase? Oh, some douche came over and drank beer out of it. And then I said, you got to pay for my vase. And he said, do you know who my dad is? And I said, everyone knows who your dad is because you have the same name, dummy. And then he started to cry and said, I wish I was Ivanka. So I felt bad. And I said, it's okay. You don't have to pay for the vase. And then he said, psych, and broke another vase. He's a real dickhead. And Don Jr. isn't the only Trump son showing up on TV to support his father and get Republicans out to vote. Yesterday, Eric Trump went on Fox News and rambled about the possibility that Democrats might impeach Trump if they win in November. But the most jarring part of that interview came when Eric was asked about famed journalist Bob Woodward's new book, Fear, a damaging insider's account of the Trump White House, and he decided to toss out some casual anti-Semitism that was not only offensive, but very hard to follow.
You can write a sensational nonsense book. CNN will definitely have you on there because they love to trash the president. It'll mean you sell 3 extra books, you make 3 extra shekels. I mean, at the behest of the American people, at the behest of our country.
Not only is that anti-Semitic, but you don't know what the word behest means. My father's amazing. He's the behest president we've ever had. But Democrats aren't running on Woodward's book or even impeachment, really. They're running entirely on issues like health care and specifically Medicare for all. An idea that not too long ago was considered a fringe pie-in-the-sky idea and is now so mainstream, former President Obama endorsed it last week.
Democrats aren't just running on good old ideas like a higher minimum wage. They're running on good new ideas like Medicare for all.
Damn! When Bernie Sanders heard that, he got so excited his hair combed itself. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen in November, but this week has shown that the choice could not be clearer. I don't know if the blue wave is coming, but if it is, the president better
Get out of its way.
This has been A Closer Look.